All right, welcome back to the Wrestling with Altitude podcast. I am your host, Mr. Fourth Row, and joining me on this episode, I have Bentley Powell. Bentley, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. Awesome weekend for me.
Well, we'll get to that in just a moment, what you're alluding to, but thank you for joining me on the podcast. And first question out of the chute for you is, how did you get introduced into professional wrestling? Did you watch it as, you're young right now, and he was about even younger?
Yeah, I was about 7 when my dad started letting me watch it. He had watched it with my brother, and he had watched it growing up his whole childhood. So definitely my dad got me into watching it, and I was a little kid, and so he's definitely how I got into wrestling.
Okay, and what did you get introduced to? What promotions? Do you have any favorite wrestlers? I think I may know the answer to this, but we need to let the listeners know. Any favorite wrestlers that you had your eye on?
Yeah, so it was WWE that I started watching. I didn't really know there was anything else when I was 7, 8 years old. But I was such a John Cena fan, like it's almost embarrassingly so. And Jeff Hardy too. Just those two guys I just absolutely loved. Like I would cry when they would lose and like stomp up the stairs. I get so mad.
Okay. And so so this was probably about, okay, forgive me if I get the exact years wrong. So this is probably about 10, 11 years that this was ago. And so you got to see pretty much like the whole evolution of John Cena, for example.
Yeah, so I started watching in 2007. So I didn't see, Dr. Thugonomics or anything. He was already past that stage. But...
Okay. That's right. So you got to see the PG version of John Cena.
Yeah, they had like just transitioned to PG when I started watching.
Yeah, they'd already got the. Were you around when they made the Was it WWE at that time, or was it still WWF? And they were did they just get rid of the F?
I'm not. It was already WWE.
Okay, it was already WWE. Okay, that's what I thought. So
I think they changed that in the '90s, and I was not around then.
Okay, yeah. They, I don't know. Did you ever hear that promotion when they started that? When the World Wildlife Fund and WWF at the time were in that big battle, so they decided to get the F out. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Wasn't there for that though.
Okay, all right. That's what I thought. It's like it's really close. It's as you get older, sometimes those things that get really old, you kind of forget exactly when that happened. So
yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool. Well, then what got you interested in to decide to do this? And I think if I did some research correctly on you, you were an athlete in school?
Yeah, I played softball, for 13, 14 years. I had just ended when I started wrestling, probably like a month before I had finished my senior season. And then I started at Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy. But I don't know, I was in my senior year of high school, and I was filling out college applications, and I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I'd always wanted to be a professional wrestler. I always thought it would be amazing. And I was just kind of fooling around online and looked for a school, and I saw there was Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy in Golden. And I was like, it kind of just clicked. I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to throw everything I got into this. So.
Oh, very cool. And so what year did you start training?
It was November of 2017, so not too long ago.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then you had your debut match little less than a year, maybe, than when you started training.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I had only been wrestling for 4 months when I debuted.
Okay.
So yeah, it was pretty quick turnaround.
All right. Okay. And so let's see here. So you're going on about a year in training, and a year probably pretty much on the active roster then too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. And so far, what have you found and what have you experienced? What are some of the things that you thought were going to be the case when you got into it, and some of the things that like surprised you?
I don't know that. Like I feel like it might be kind of cliche, but kind of everything surprised me. Like how like intricate the whole business is, and like interconnected everybody is, and like I thought I knew wrestling just because I had watched it for so long, but like I really had no clue like how hard the training is and how rigorous the schedule could be of performing every week and multiple times a week. And yeah, so it just, everything kind of blew me away.
So a lot of the behind the scenes stuff was surprising stuff. Okay. Yeah. But so then the actual wrestling matches and stuff like that, that kind of that's kind of what you thought.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd say that's
part.
what I thought, but I didn't realize how exhausting they would be. You know, like you just watch this 10-15 minute match, and it's a short amount of time to watch as a fan, but it can feel like you're in there for an hour. Just how physical it really is.
Right. Yeah, because there's a lot of details in there, you know, that as the competitor, as the wrestlers in it, that you know, a lot of that goes into it during and before and even after the match, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what's kind of, so you just say probably the hardest thing right now is just the you know, like the behind the scenes stuff, the prep, you know, and you know what about like, for example, learning how to promo, how to talk, and that kind of stuff? Has that been was that hard to get going at first?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the most challenging thing, even for me still. I've always been athletic, so the athletic side of things wasn't it's not super challenging for me. I pick stuff up pretty quick, and I work very hard at the things that are difficult for me, but definitely like I had very limited experience talking in front of people before I started wrestling. So it was, yeah, the character and promo are definitely some of the hardest things to pick up.
Yeah. All right. And so far, what have been your favorite people to compete against?
Well, I have to say Alligato is definitely a favorite of mine, but just because we've almost wrestled, it feels like every week for the past year together. Right. So we know each other very well. But I got to wrestle Leva Bates last month, and that was just amazing. It was incredible to be able to learn from her and see like how she goes about her business and what I can learn just from being in the ring with her for a little bit. And then I got to wrestle Nicole Savoy and Shotzi Blackheart this weekend, and that was incredible too.
Yeah. Were you intimidated or in a little bit of awe when you got into the ring with those mentioned people?
I wouldn't say intimidated, because I'm not really intimidated by anybody. But it was definitely an honor, I would say, to be able to be thought of as good enough to step in the ring with them and, beat all of them.
Right. And would you say also to your a learning experience, because when you get to face against people that you have not been in the ring with, everybody has their even slightly different style. It could be close to other people you've gotten in the ring with, but not exact.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge to step in the ring with somebody for the first time and have to go in front of people right away and not really have any. It's a very hard thing to wrestle somebody for the first time, especially in front of a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. So, so far, have you had any real memorable moments in your wrestling career? Things that you gone, God, I can't believe I got to do that.
Well, this weekend, I would say,
Okay.
wrestling Nicole Savoy, Shotzi Blackheart, and Alligato for the Respect Women's title. It's probably the highlight of my career, and winning the match was insane. So yeah, that's probably my marquee moment so far.
All right.
My short little career.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's since we kind of jumped to that a bit, let's talk about this that just happened this past weekend. You had to win not one but two qualifying matches, and you got put in there by the master of ceremonies, Megan. There, what were you just like, okay, whatever you're going to throw in front of me? Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't have any doubt in myself that I could beat whoever they decided to throw out there to try to. I know they didn't want me to be champion. I know that they were, terrified because they like having matches up in the air. And if I'm in a match, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to win it. So I knew that they just wanted to throw a curveball my way to see if they could, increase Allie's chances of winning the match per se.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did call her out at the, not the one that just passed, but the previous when you called her out that you basically said, everybody says that Alligato is the standard for professional wrestling when it comes to women's wrestling in Colorado. Yeah, but you said no. There's a new face for women for in Colorado for professional wrestling. You kind of foreshadowed that a little bit, so you were really confident in yourself there.
Oh yeah, I'm always confident in myself. I knew I proved it on Friday. Was it Friday? Jeez, it's been a long time. Yeah, I proved on Friday. I'm the new face. I'm the champion of the only all-women's promotion in Colorado. So if that doesn't say I'm at the top of all the women in Colorado, I don't know what does.
Oh, well, shoot. There you go. I don't think I have an argument for that. Not at all. So let's talk about the future though. Do you have any dream opponents that you would like to get in the ring with? So far, I know your career is kind of short right now, but anybody in the world that you would like to get into the ring with, even in the near future or the far future, if you get a little more seasoning under your belt, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Mercedes Martinez is probably one of the top. I've looked up to her for a long time. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I loved Beth Phoenix as a little kid. Mm-hmm. Like, she was one of the, when I started watching as a kid, the women's wrestling wasn't taken very seriously, but she was.
Right.
It seemed like she was one of the only women who was actually taken seriously because she looked like she could just beat the crap out of you at any given time. So I always loved her. So I guess as a dream match, I would love to wrestle Beth Phoenix.
Well, I mean, I would agree with you. You're probably right. It's going to be difficult with her now being in the WWE Hall of Fame. So that it's kind of. I think after that point when that happens, you may or may not see them because you see former wrestlers do seminars and travel as independent promotions, but I don't think you see the Hall of Famers get out there just because contract liabilities and all that kind of good stuff like that. But
if they're under contract or something, well, who knows? I might be in the WWE sooner rather than later. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. So you have maybe some aspirations of maybe going to, like, say, try out for NXT.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if the opportunity presents itself, I'll be on the first flight there.
Yeah. All right. And then when they do live events, sometimes they ask for local talent. Are you? I know they have. There's an age restriction. Are you age restricted on that right now? Do you know?
I actually did that last year. I was an extra at Raw and SmackDown.
Okay.
It is 18, but I was 19 when I did it.
Okay, so you're just an extra, but you didn't get a chance to get in the ring.
I wasn't in the ring, but I was in No Way Jose's conga line. So.
Oh, there you go. Cool. That was fun, I bet.
Yeah.
How did that go? Tell the listeners about that.
It was crazy. Just being in the same building as all the people that you watch on TV every week was definitely very weird. And to be, not viewed equally, but we eat at the same catering, so we're like next to them a lot during the day, and you get to meet a lot of them. They're obviously all incredibly busy. Trying to perform a 3-hour live TV show every week is no small task, so you don't see a lot of interaction between the extras and the talent, but it was one of the most eye-opening experiences, I would say. Seeing how the whole thing works really from backstage was incredible.
Yeah. Did you get to meet anybody that you were glad you got to meet? Did you have any really good, not necessarily for the conga line, but anybody else that you had a really good interaction and with, and any kind of memorable moment there?
I had two. Stephanie McMahon came up to me and introduced herself, and that was very crazy. Mm-hmm. just shake her hand, and I was like, my name is what? What's my Anna? That's right. And I got to meet Natalia too, and she came up and introduced herself and was very nice. So those were two very cool experiences I got to have that day.
Oh, great! Well, two great pioneers of in the industry.
Yeah, for sure.
That was great.
Incredible.
Oh, well, fantastic. All right. Well, what do you have going on right now in the really near future? What shows you got going on? What promotions are you going on, and what are you looking forward to so far right now?
Well, I'm with Rocky Mountain Pro every week. So every Thursday I have a 2-hour live TV show there, which is crazy, but I don't have anything besides Rocky Mountain Pro this month, but next month I'm at Triple L at one of their ratio shows, which is a free show, but it's very fun. And then our next Respect show is May 11th.
And you got to defend the championship, huh?
I do.
All right. That just made me think of something. Okay, so currently you, with Rocky Mountain Pro, you are aligned with EOE. How's that going?
Oh, they're two of my super good friends within wrestling. So it's awesome to work with them every week, and it's nice to have backup out there.
That's good. Okay, and then my next question was, okay, so a few months ago we had Triple L, Lucha Libre and Laughs, had the Equal Fights 2-day tournament. How was that tagging up there with Monster Zero, Big Filt Dog?
Oh, it was awesome. He's like one of my best friends in wrestling and outside of wrestling. So it was super cool to be able to be on the same team together and wrestle with one another.
And I don't know if you heard the interview I had with him. He he called you his little sister. So is that the vice versa the same? Is he your big brother, literally and
Yeah.
figuratively?
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely like my big brother. I feel like I could. It's so funny because he's one of my best friends there, and I've become very good friends with Marlon Bishop there. So I just feel like I could walk into any room and just cause some trouble and just be like, "Yep, these are the guys I brought with me."
And the one thing that really, when I attended that show, that I really loved, is that you guys had each other's merch on, and I thought that was really cool. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we wanted to rep each other, and then we actually had a Brackhouse show right after the first night of Triple L, so he wrestled in my shirt there too. It was really cool.
Okay. Yeah, now see, I missed that show because I was still, for the second night of the Equal Fights.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's fun. Just gotta keep it going then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to team with him again.
All right. Okay. All right. So then you said we got the Respect Women's Wrestling promotion that you now are the first newly crowned as of we are like 4 days in or so champion, and I suspect that you are not wanting to relinquish that. You're not going to relinquish that title anytime soon, I bet, huh?
No, if I'm breathing, it's staying with me. It's my first title of my career, and I hope we're 4 days into a very, very, very long run for me as champion.
All right, yeah. Oh, cool. All right. So then, any aspirations on? I know you're on the younger side, and you probably got a lot going on with schooling and stuff like that. But any aspirations of getting, maybe working any out of Colorado promotions?
Yeah, I'm actually. Oh, I forgot. I'm wrestling in Salina, Kansas, in a couple weekends. April 27th, I think. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking into starting to travel around and just get more experience, because you can wrestle in Colorado for a long time, but to really get out there and wrestle, a lot of new faces and a lot of different people will, take you to the next level.
And what promotion is that for?
Oh, shoot. I can't remember off the top of my head. XWE?
Okay.
I know Billy Simmons runs it.
Oh, I think you're right. I think that sounds right.
I think it's XWE.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
It'd be my first time going out there, so.
Okay. And did you meet him at the recently Hangs with Bob Super Camp?
I did meet him, but I had talked to him previously before that. But yeah, that was the first time I met him in person. And yeah, he's a super cool guy.
Oh yeah. I think I even talked to him on one of my other podcasts, our What's on Fight podcast. So yeah, I think we talked to him. So, and I got to meet him, I think, too. So yeah, it was cool to actually see him in person after already talking to him on the internet. So that was cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's a really cool dude. So.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to the podcast. But before I let you go, if people wanted to follow you up on social media, where can they do that?
So it's Kill Her Bentley on Twitter and Instagram. And then I have a Bentley Powell Facebook page too.
All right. Well, gosh, that's plain and simple, just like your just like your attitude in the ring, and straightforward.
Yeah, I'm just in there to win. I'm in there to kick somebody's head off,
All right. Yeah, they don't call it. Well, you're not the self-appointed bitch killer for anything, huh?
Yeah, nah. I back it up every damn night.
All right, cool. All right, once again, I appreciate you coming on the show, and people follow up with her on social media, and of course I'll be probably seeing you here in a few days at the next few shows.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
once again, a big thank you to the newly crowned Respect Women's champion, Bentley Powell, for coming on to the podcast on this episode and allowing all the listeners to get to know her just a little bit better. So let's get right into the rewind of last week's Wrestling with Altitude area of all the events that was happening. And we had a pretty full weekend. I was not able to attend all of them because there was some conflicting dates. And hey, that's actually a good thing. That just shows that professional wrestling is happening in the Colorado and Rocky Mountain area. So we had, as usual, the Rocky Mountain Pro Ignition and Charge tapings. They are continuing to roll right along with being on live TV on Right Now TV. And they are going on, and they started their Ignition Championship tournament. And this is something that I have been wanting for a long time. And I cannot wait to see what the Ignition Championship title looks like. I'm just really excited. And I kind of have a hope and a desire to who I'd like to see win it, but I'm going to cheer for who I want to cheer for verbally and cheer for who I want to win internally as well. So I'm not going to divulge any more than that. I'm going to keep my cards close to my chest, as they may say. So then on Friday, we had Colorado Springs Wrestling presenting Bar Fights Volume 4, Returns and Farewells. And this was the continuation of the last weekend of Big Gun Justin Andrews' farewell tour before his deployment in the armed forces. He is heading to Afghanistan, so I do wish Big Gun's safe return, and keep all your military brothers and sisters safe, and we're all going to, of course, miss you. And then also on Friday, we had as previously mentioned there on the interview with Bentley Powell, the Respect Women's Wrestling Volume 3, where we did crown the new Respect Women's Champion of Bentley Powell. It was a great night. That was the one that I attended, so stay closer to home, and how can you blame me? And it was a great night of seeing all the women there competing, and seeing some great reworks of characters. And then I realized, the next day, we actually saw 3 champions in different promotions there at the event. Local champions, of course, Aligato, who is the Lucha Libre and Laughs Women's Champion, and Simone Lockhart, who is the Rocky Mountain Pro Lockettes Champion. And then, of course, we were going to have a champion crowned there at the event, as they mentioned before the show, in the show promoting, upcoming there for Respect Women's Wrestling Volume 3. Then on Saturday, we had the New Era Wrestling presents Mayhem, and it was a great night. They went all at it. I got to see episode number 2 of Dooley Trailer's show. Pretty awesome. I like they bring in the AstroTurf and the lawn chairs and picnic table. Love Dooley Trailer, probably one of the best heels in the Colorado area. So hopefully I don't get into too much trouble for saying that. And of course, the continuation of the Big Guns Justin Andrews farewell tour there as well. And then on Sunday was the IWC Legacy Respect show. I was planning on attending it, but unfortunately had something come up. But as far as I could tell, it looked like it was a great event. IWC always seems to put together a great show and have all kinds of great wrestlers, the best of the world, coming into Denver there to participate and come to the show. So, well, what do we have on tap for this week? Well, believe it or not, we are in a slow weekend, but it could just because it's the holiday weekend, the Easter weekend for those who celebrate it. And I don't know how much of you know out there, but Mr. Fourth Row's favorite holiday is Easter, and that is just because I was born on Easter. So just a little bit of a short story that I've been told growing up was that Easter Sunday that was happening on the day that I was born, my dad is very good about making homemade dinner rolls, and he had called over to my grandma's house and saying that my mom was in labor with me, and my dad has been known to be a somewhat of a practical joker. And so they were just kind of thinking, oh, you're just stalling because you haven't had time to get the dinner rolls completely done. And he's like, no, seriously, my mom is, my wife is in labor. And so, and sure enough, here it was. It was, from my understanding, it was a great, nice spring day. And then the next day it blizzard, because in Colorado, we of course can still have snow all the way into early summer, and sometimes in the summer times too we'll have a freak snowstorm, but really doesn't amount to very much. So just a quick story about Easter, but let's get back into what is coming up in the Wrestling with Altitude area for shows. We have on Wednesday, we have the Midgets with Attitude Wrestling happening in Colorado Springs at Alchemy 2625 West Colorado Avenue in Colorado Springs. Tickets are $20 advance, $25 day of, and each ticket comes with a half pint of beer. And I understand they're having another event in the near future in the Denver area, so I think I will attend that. In fact, I think it's actually really close to me, maybe within like 15 minutes drive from my house. And then on Thursday, we are continuing with the Rocky Mountain Pro Ignition and Charge. They are, I believe, in the semifinals of the Ignition Championship, so I will be there in attendance for that, and they will be continuing everything else they've got going on as well. So if you want to get tickets for Rocky Mountain Pro, simple as going to rmpwrestling.com. You can get them in advance, save a few dollars, or of course you can always get tickets at the door at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds there in Golden, Colorado. And then nothing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As far as I know, nothing really big. I suspect, and I apologize all to my luchadors and luchadora brothers and sisters, that, I know there's a million lucha shows every weekend, and sometimes they are so many to try to list as well. But if you guys want to keep up with the calendar, there is a calendar that I'm trying to keep up to date at wrestlingwithaltitude.com, and you can find all of the previous podcasts links there, as well as the podcasts from the View from the Fourth Row as well on there. Trying to add a little bit. It's still a little bit of work in progress, but content is king, as my webmaster professor in college had told me. So you can always get content up there, and then you can make it look pretty a little bit later. So if you want to contact the show, you can. I believe you can contact the show at podcast@wrestlingwithaltitude.com. We are also on Twitter at WrestleAltitude. If you want to email me directly, you can also do that, and that is Mr.Fourthrow@gmail.com. And I wanted to, of course, once again, thank the Trending Topics Trendy Topics Network for hosting the podcast. And if you are enjoying Wrestling with Altitude here, go ahead and subscribe or stay subscribed to the feed, and you can catch other great shows such as the Spanish Announce Table, Wrestling Cheers, the Eurovision Showcased, and All Beer Inside, and so much more. But I want to thank you all for listening and having fun wrestling with Altitude.